Hi there, welcome back to another vlog. This week there will be no weekly shreddies, my new series, just basically because I've had a really rough week. A lot of stuff kind of happened unexpectedly at the beginning of last week. So, anyone that follows me on social media knows that I'm quite passionate about guitars and music, but I'm also quite passionate about my fur babies, my fur children. Um, and we had to unfortunately say goodbye to our little buddy Theo. Now, we had gotten Theo the summer of 2020, knowing that our old cat, our old man Neo, we referred to as, would pass along at some point. He was just getting up there in age, and we kind of wanted to have a kitty around, kind of maybe spur him up, maybe get him a little excitable again. But he didn't really take to the kitten, unfortunately. So, and then Neo had passed away back in January. So we just had our little guy Theo, and then my dog Jackson, of course, always around us. And he was a lovable little guy. He was a runt of the litter, and he was just, I think it was because we were home so much during this pandemic, because my wife and I work from home. We have our home offices, and he just really got attached to us. We really got attached to him. And like he would spend his mornings pretty much alternating between, my wife and I, sitting in our laps, just wanting attention. He'd make appearances on my camera when I'd be talking to, my colleagues working. And then his afternoons, he had his little routines where he used to like to sit in the sun. If the sun would hit the back of the house, we had a little hammock that used to sit in the back window, and he would spend his afternoons in the sun. And then, in the evenings, he was always around, whether I was, playing hockey on my PlayStation or my wife be chatting on the phone, doing whatnot. He was always around. And of course, for Jackson, too, we'd chase him around the house a little bit. And he was just such a people cat that, even when people would come to the door, same as the dog, he would come running and want to greet people. And he was not afraid just to jump into anyone's lap. He just loved people. So it was hard for us. And we knew something was up with him. Yeah, he had like really bad gingivitis for a kitty, even before he was a year old. So we were taking him into the vet to try to get that kind of dealt with. And then we had brought him in to get a teeth cleaning. And I'll honestly say, if you ever try brushing a cat's teeth, it's quite a bit of work to get their teeth cleaned. So at some point we were getting him in to see the vet to try to get a teeth cleaning, and they did some blood work on him, and they found that his white blood cell count was really high. So there was something internally going on with him. And then we'd gotten some blood work. It seemed like he was starting to do better. And then we noticed his breathing started getting really labored. And by last Sunday, we took him into the emergency vet. And then we had to take him to another vet in Calgary, a specialist. And they said they'd done an x-ray at the first vet and said that there was fluid all around his lungs and his heart and whatnot, and that needed to be removed, like drained and whatnot. So with the second vet kind of was going through the whole process of everything to try to help the little guy. And then at one point he was really struggling. We went, and I remember it was 3 a.m. on Monday. Monday morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, we drove into Calgary to see him, and he kind of perked up a little bit when he saw us. But it was tough to see him with tubes in him and everything. And he was struggling. But that, they were monitoring him, and then I can't remember, it was sometime in the morning they found blood in his belly. So there was something really wrong with him, and he didn't have much of a chance. So we had to put him down, unfortunately. So it was really rough for my wife and I. We really got attached to the little guy. So, but he lives on with us. He's in some of my videos. And we're gonna get another kitten at some point, but it's just hard when he's kind of like your baby. So, and it's sad. Jackson kind of looks around for him sometimes, so it's hard. But otherwise, I was starting to work on my next weekly Shreddies episode, and I was kind of trying to figure out which guitar I was going to use. And I was kind of aiming towards using this guy for the next one. So I had actually just put new strings on this guitar just last weekend, and sort of getting prepared my next weekly Shreddies episode. But besides that, with Siren, we're finally going to get a local show. It's going to be our first show in Calgary since January of 2020 when we played Dickens, and we're going to be playing Dickens again. And we're headlining this time, which will be really good. I think we did headline the last time, but we're going to have a lot more material. Those that have been following, we've got a bunch of new songs for the next album, which we started recording. We released the one single, so things are kind of going well now with Siren. We do have some festivals booked for next year as well. So we're going to kind of get the ball rolling here. We're recording the next album. We have the next single we're going to start recording. That'll come pretty soon here. And then on the side of that, I'm kind of working on my solo album, kind of getting things kind of organized. The tuning thing has been kind of my struggle in the last while, is what tunings I'm going to work around. Because my first album that I released in 2016, I had recorded using two tunings. I used E flat standard, so half step down, and then the same tuning with a drop D, so drop C sharp, I guess you could say. But a lot of my guitars, because of Siren, are actually in standard tuning. So I'm actually kind of aiming towards this next album being more standard tuning wise. So this guy here, my white V, is in standard tuning again. In fact, I'll probably play that at the next Dickens show. I like to do some drop D stuff. So this guitar here, which I'd been using for drop C, and this is my baby. This is my number one. I refer to a lot as my USA RR1. I'm probably going to it's in drop C right now. And as I was going through some of my material, I'm probably going to go drop D now, and kind of bring up the tuning a bit. And that'll be that. And then, of course, I've got two other songs that I'm working on that are going to be on a 7-string. So, of course, this is in standard tuning. Now, the only thing I had mentioned before is I don't like these pickups. So these pickups are going to go. So I'm just trying to figure out what pickups I'm going to put in the 7-string. And being that the two V's have blackouts, the active blackouts, I may go to blackouts in the 7-string as well. When it comes to solos and whatnot, I'm probably going to use my white V, or I might use my Kelly with the JB and the Jazz set, just because it's just such an amazing sounding guitar, and I think for leads it would work really well for what I want to do with that. But besides the equipment, I've got my Rev stuff behind me. Where is it? It's right there. I'm probably going to try to record with real amps. Although I like using the head rush, it's good for songwriting, good for my weekly shreddies and whatnot. I want to have as much of a real guitar tone as I can for this next solo album. So I'm probably going to use the real amps. And then for the songwriting, I've got 2 songs in 7-string. I've got 3 that are drop D, and then 1 that's in standard. So most of that album is kind of there. I just want to tighten some stuff up. I'm still working on a lot of my solos, my leads. Trying to really focus on my sweep picking, but also I've been really working on my picking technique for alternate picking. And recently I'd gotten this book here. From Chris Brooks for alternate picking guitar technique. This book, and actually this neoclassical book here, actually really helped me in my picking and my practicing. And one thing I never really took a lot of thought to was the angle of your pick. I'd always been kind of just normal, whatever. But having the angle of your pick, whether it's downwards, upwards, whatnot, actually does make a difference, especially in your accuracy and your speed. And it's actually helped me really improve in the last little while. So definitely going to throw a lot more of that technique into the next solo album. Of course, my style is mostly legato, but I'm going to try to throw every facet of technique in playing, but also the songwriting. I really want to have a good album with songwriting. So we're going to see how that goes. As well, I want to throw in a bit of acoustic guitar. There will be some acoustic in there. I do have my acoustic guitar. I got to break it out again, but that'll be in there at some point. So otherwise, that's just a quick vlog for today. Next week, my weekly shreddies should be back. And as I was saying, I'm going to use that EVH for the next one. And we'll see how things go. So trying to stay positive. I miss my little buddy. But, things, we have to move on and just think of the best memories that we can. And of course, I look forward to being back up on the stage again. So anyway, till next time, shred on. Bye.